Yo, what's up everybody? My name is Dylan Switzerland and welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about Fallout. Now, this is probably one of the greatest video game live action adaptations since The Last of Us in my opinion, and especially for the fans of Fallout that have been waiting for something like this. I mean, especially if you've been playing since Fallout 1 and 2, even 3, which is where I got introduced to the Fallout series was Fallout 3. I remember getting the game for my birthday as a kid, and I remember not knowing what to do in that game, and I got scared when it was nighttime, so I just never touched the game after that. And then one day, maybe like a couple months after I got it, I picked it back up and I fell in love. Absolutely incredible. So let's get to the show. The Fallout TV show takes place in the year 2296, which is a little over 200 years after the bombs have fallen. This makes the Fallout TV show actually the most current point in the timeline for the story in the Fallout universe. I'm not gonna have any spoilers in this video because I really want people to enjoy the full experience of the TV show, and especially if you haven't played Fallout or even know what Fallout is, I don't want to spoil anything. And even if you have played Fallout and you've been playing the video games, I still don't want to spoil anything. But the show is about Lucy, who leaves Vault 33, and she goes out to the wasteland after the bombs have fallen 200 years later to search for her father. What's really great about the show is that the people that worked in this show actually took the time to respect the source material from the games and just the Fallout lore in general. There's been so many times during the TV series where you actually hear sounds that are extremely familiar, almost if they're like copy paste from the video games over the years, and it makes the series feel just so much more whole as a show and as an experience. It's really awesome. Another thing that's really cool about the TV show is that they really got the adaptation right of how the vaults actually look from the game, and the items that are within the vaults, down to the radios, the TVs, the ovens, the refrigerators, and even the food items are exactly accurate to the video game. I'm gonna keep it so real right now. I'm a huge fan of Fallout, and I'm a huge fan of the Elder Scrolls, but Starfield had a horrible launch, and I really don't care for that game, and I really feel like at this point in time, the Fallout show felt so natural. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like it was like, hey, let's just make a show. It wasn't like Amazon was just like, yo, you guys, Bethesda, make a show and let's do it. It actually feels like this is the perfect time. Like, it shouldn't have been sooner, and it shouldn't have been nowhere near in the future. This is the perfect time for Bethesda to have like a live action adaptation of one of their video game titles. And it's really cool that they went ahead and did Fallout. I think it's super cool too that we have an audience of older people that have been playing in the game for a while now. And then we also have newcomers to the Fallout universe that have no idea what's really going on here. So for them, it's a whole new experience. It's really cool that they're finding out that it's really a video game. And for those people that are actually into video games, it's cool seeing them actually want to pick up a title for the first time based off the experience they had watching a show. I really want to say that Cyberpunk Edgerunners had a little bit to do with this, and not for Fallout, but just in general with the video games having a animated series adaptation or some sort of live action series adaptation. We saw this with The Witcher, but I think The Witcher actually went downhill after season 2. I know there was complications with the cast and the story not being accurate on the show to some of the video game lore, I think, but I'm not too familiar with that. But I do want to say that Cyberpunk Edgerunners had something to do with all these other game studios basically saying, hey, maybe we should do a live adaptation of one of our biggest IP titles. I think it was true that Sony actually had bought, when they had bought Bungie, Destiny was already going to team up, or Bungie was teaming up with Netflix to have a live action Destiny series or an animated series, but I'm not sure which one it was. For anybody that's watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners, you know how great that series was, just because if you played the game, you already understood basically the premises and the concept of that show. People going into cyberpsychosis, people, drugged out. The city is filled with, fake food, weapons. Everyone has some sort of like cyberware going on with their body. So it was really exciting to see that be adapted, and they did it correctly, and it felt great. It felt natural. And that's the same thing they did with Fallout. Amazon and the people that worked in the show really took this to the next level, and they really stuck to the source material and nailed it. Like, they nailed it. It was amazing to see. It's really cool when you see Lucy use her Pip-Boy and you hear the same exact sound from the video game when you open up your Pip-Boy and you're looking at it, or you see the same animation, or you see the same sound from when you place a quest marker or something like that. It was really cool. I mean, we all also got to see the iconic 10mm pistol from every Fallout game, or at least the ones I know of, Fallout 3, 4, New Vegas, and 76. It was really cool to see just like the small things from when you're starting the game also like mirror within the episodes of the show. Like for example, we see like the Rad Roach in a vault, and it's like, wow, that's so cool, because we all know that when you play Fallout, usually when you start in the vault in the game, you're always going to encounter that Rad Roach, like one of your first enemies in the game, or when you encounter a mole rat or something like that. I'm so glad that this got renewed for a season 2, because once you guys watch this show, and by the time you're in episode 3 or 4, you're already going to be hoping there has to be a season 2. There has to be a continuation to this story. And I felt that way when we weren't even done with the series. Me and my girlfriend watched it, and by by episode 3 or 4, I was already like, oh my God, they are nailing this. If they continue to do this correctly, I am praying to the Bethesda gods, Amazon Prime, whoever's behind this project, whoever's working on the show, whoever has to say so, please give this a season 2. And they sure in the hell did, and they deserve it. I even saw a YouTube short of Todd Howard basically like talking to some fans or some press during like the release of the show, and they're like, yo, we're giving it a 9 out of 10, and he looked like he was about to cry. Like, if you look real close into this man's eyes after all the L's that Bethesda have taken with like previous Fallout titles and just glitches and bugs, and Starfield just being a disaster, it feels like they really needed this. Todd Howard and the people that worked on the Fallout games, they need this dub, because honestly, Fallout 76 is amazing to me because of the multiplayer aspect. It's glitchy, it's buggy, the story isn't all the way there. I mean, there's a story there, don't get me wrong, but it's more of a multiplayer game, not like a single player game. And just seeing a lot of the backlash that Bethesda has been getting over time, it's really cool to see them finally take such a dub, like from older players, from an older audience to a newer audience, whether you're, 18 or you've been playing Fallout for years and you remember playing Fallout 1 and 2 and Fallout Tactics on the PC. It's really cool to just see everybody come together and be like, yo, you guys nailed this shit. I also knew this show was like super impactful when my mom is texting me, asking me questions about the Fallout series, asking me questions about the lore, and when my girlfriend actually asked me, which Fallout game should I start on to get into Fallout? That blew my mind. Like, when people that don't know about this universe, or people that aren't familiar even with this kind of game, the open world survival, do whatever you want, shooter type RPG type of thing, when someone asks you who isn't familiar with it, when they ask you what game should they start on, that does something to a gamer's heart. That does something to the nerds. Like, for us out there that really care about the game and the show and the series and everything just in general, it just makes us feel so good, because it's like yes, you see the vision, you understand sort of like, wow, there's more to this than just a show. There's a video game series. Like, yes, it's amazing. I know I'm kind of spazzing out in this video and it's not really structured as well as you guys might want it to be, but when I saw this, I had to make a video about it. Like, when I finish a series, I have to geek out about things like this. I'm so passionate about video games and storytelling and lore that I have no choice. Like, it's just in my heart. I have to talk about how great this show was. So many times throughout the show, while me and my girlfriend were watching it, I was just sitting there with my jaw on the floor, because there were so many things that were so accurate to the games. And when I say accurate to the games, not in a spoiler way, just in a way of how the game functions, and then you see them kind of like pay homage to that within the series as well. It's amazing. Like, oh, that's actually what would happen in a Fallout game taking place within the series. Like, it's cool that they paid homage to that, because there's so many times in the Fallout game where there's something that like kind of doesn't make sense. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I was like, wait, hold on, why is everything so like kind of comedic, kind of whimsical? Not whimsical, because it's very serious, but there's certain things that is just like comedy, like, and it made me feel like, wait, this isn't Fallout. But then when I really thought about it, I was like, wait, that actually would happen in the Fallout game. That's actually a conversation that you would have with an NPC, or that's like actually something that you would see within the game, like when you go into a new faction, or you discover a new city, or you discover some place in the game on the map, and you're like, what the hell is going on? There were so many moments within the show that actually like mimic that perfectly on the series. They nailed these factions down like to the T. The Brotherhood of Steel, the Vault Dwellers. They even mentioned right in the beginning of the series, they had some mentioning about the Enclave. And if you've been playing Fallout, you guys all know how mysterious the Enclave are. That's a faction that we don't have a ton of lore about, and it's really cool to just see them acknowledge that within the show. It's really cool to just see these things all kind of clash together that we've been witnessing years and years throughout the video games as we play the stories and do side quests, and to see those those things kind of pop up in the show just makes you feel so wholesome. It made me feel so warm. It was incredible. I even saw that like the cameraman, the people that were working in the set that weren't even acting in the show, that or weren't background characters or background actors, I mean, they were so happy to work on the show because they've been playing the games over the years, and for them to finally like see it come to life on the TV, like as a live action series, even they were geeking out, and I would be geeking out too. Like imagine being on the set and working on Fallout, and you've been a huge fan of Fallout. Like that's exciting. I would never want to clock out. I wouldn't want to leave the set. And finally, there's so many new players coming to the game. It's amazing. There's so many people asking, what game do I start with? What's the chronological order of the universe or the lore or the stories? Which game should I start first? And it's so cool to see people asking those questions, whether it's in person or on social media. And another thing that I thought was really cool is that Fallout, or Bethesda, is releasing an update for Fallout 4. So we're finally getting that 60 FPS game that we've always wanted. We're finally getting a higher resolution. They're dropping some new DLC with the Enclave. They're putting out some new skins. They're also adding a new quest line with them. I think it's not going to be like a long quest line, but it's definitely a quest in there that has to do with the Enclave. And it's really cool because it's like when Cyberpunk came out with their animated series, they were already reworking the game that was broken. They were reworking it. They didn't abandon it. They kept going on it. And I think that's what's actually going to take place with Fallout 76 and going into Fallout 5, which probably won't be for a while, but they did confirm they're working on Fallout 5. So that's really cool to hear. But back to what I was saying, basically you see Bethesda saying, wow, our show is getting so much attention that we actually probably should put out an update for the titles that they're going to want to jump in on, because nobody's going to jump in on Fallout New Vegas or 3. They might, and you have to go through Game Pass, I believe, or you have to go through Steam, and most people probably aren't going to go that deep just to play the game. If you're like a casual player, you know, you have a PS5, PS4, you're definitely going to boot it up on, you know, the PS5 or the PS4. They're releasing this update for both consoles, actually, the PS5, the PS4, the Xbox Series, or no, not the PS4, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. They're finally, you know, releasing an update, giving us that 60 frames per second, giving us that nice gameplay that we needed. They're working on some mod updates and a few things like that. There's a huge, you could read about it on Bethesda's website, but it's really cool to see that so much great reception or so much great feedback about the show has pushed Bethesda to even work on their titles even more. I mean, Fallout 4 is almost 10 years old and they're putting out an update for it. Fallout 76 has been out for about 6 years now, and they are still pushing content on that game. It's controversial with Fallout 76, but that community is so strong. I think Fallout 76 will be just fine. Even if Fallout 76 has to be like the most current game for the next 3-4 years, it's going to be just fine. And with the reception or with the feedback of this show, they're probably going to put out even more content and work on that even more. So I'm really happy to be a fan of Fallout and Bethesda's, you know, the things that they've done over the years, whether it's the Elder Scrolls or Prey or, you know, Fallout. They've just, you know, they've been taking L's here and there. And when they take L's, they're usually pretty huge. But for them to take a huge dub, this feels like a win for all of us. So I just wanted to geek out and talk about this. I'm super passionate about the Fallout universe. I love the lore. I got some Fallout bobbleheads. I got a Fallout t-shirt. I'm actually literally about to waste more money on Fallout merch just because I saw the show. So good job, Bethesda. You guys are actually getting more of my money. Thank you. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. And have a good one. My name is Dylan Switzerland. Like, comment, subscribe if you guys enjoyed the video. If you didn't, let me know. Let me know if it was trash. And I'll see you on the next one.